Another episode of Curl Up with Cathy. Today, my special guest is the wonderful Lucy Dillon. Let's say hello to Lucy. Hi, Lucy. Coming up on my screen any second. Hello. Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. And that's a very lovely shirt, I think it is, with little cherries on. That's very nice.
Thank you very much. Very spring-like.
Yes.
I think it's important when you're working from home to actually dress as if you are going to an office. Otherwise, the day just becomes one long breakfast, doesn't it?
Yeah,
really?
That's true. So you haven't got pajamas on the bottom.
I'm saying nothing, but the top half is office ready.
You've got earrings.
Yes.
Yeah. I've even got perfume on. Not that doesn't quite work on video, but yeah, I'm even wearing perfume. Yeah, I must admit, I do like getting dressed properly and starting my day. Otherwise, I feel like I haven't got going yet if I've not put clothes on.
Well, I think the other thing is that's absolutely true, and it works at the other end of the day as well, because you have to be able to stop, don't you? I mean, the whole point about working from home, I've found over many years of working from home, is it's really easy for your working day to go on, till 9, 10 at night, and actually it's good to stop.
Yeah,
So,
definitely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Do you have a certain time of day where you feel like you're more productive?
My brain, for some reason, only really kicks in the evenings, which was fine when I lived on my own, but it's not very sociable, when you have, family and everything. I've tried to train myself to be more kind of functional in the mornings, but I don't know. I think the day's events kind of percolate in your head, and then by the time you're just about to go to sleep, your brain goes, "Oh, I know." So I could do with reclaiming that, really.
Yeah. Well, I used to think that I'm a morning person. I am a morning person. I do get up. I mean, I was awake at 5 this morning, annoyingly. Wow. I didn't move, but I did my online shopping for the weekend in bed.
You have to get up early to get a Tesco slot now.
I know. But I found that actually in terms of words per hour, my best time is sort of 3 o'clock to 6. Which is really annoying because when my daughter was at school, before they closed at school, she would come home at about 3:30, and then I'd have to try and ignore her because that was my most productive time. So, but yeah, I'm just kick the table. I'm much better at that time of day for some strange reason. But you're a mirror.
Yeah, evening person. I think setting yourself artificial deadlines can be quite helpful. And I think there is a bit of my brain that still thinks, well, 5:30 is kind of leaving the office time, so I better get some words down before 5. But
yeah. So do you have a set writing routine? Do you if you're in first draft mode, for example, how do you set out your work?
I have a big notice board with little pieces of paper on it, and I'm trying to be a bit more disciplined about structuring things. And I think the problem that I still have after writing lots of books is feeling a bit overwhelmed at the beginning, how do you keep a whole book in your head? And for me, seeing it pinned to a board, like this is the first act, this is the second act, this is where the big dramas happen, this is what I'm working towards at the end. I find it sort of keeps it in check. And I try to take the advice I would give other people. I don't know about you, Cathy, but I know exactly how to tell people to write a book, and I sit down. But I think for me, it's important to write the bits that the scenes that and worry about how to link them together later.
Oh, so you wouldn't necessarily write chronologically then?
Well, I try to, but I've kind of realised over the years that's when I get stuck, is when I try to be too chronological. And if I have got stuck, I just think, well, what's the next big thing that I know has to happen? Who has to discover what? Who has to fall out? Who's got to appear? And I write that scene.
That's clever. Good tip.
Yeah, and I think sometimes it helps you because the kind of linking together scenes where you don't really know what's happening, you just end up treading water, and those are quite boring scenes, and you will have to go back at the end and put something interesting in there. But sometimes you don't actually know what that interesting thing is until you've written the bit that comes after it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. So I'm here, I'm at point B, but I know I need to get to C. What do I need to They do. Yeah, that's a really good
Yeah.
tip, actually, because I generally write chronologically, chapter by chapter, but occasionally, usually if I'm doing the ironing or something like that, a conversation, like a really poignant conversation between two characters will pop into my head, and I have to like quickly drop
Yes.
everything and run and write it
Write
down.
it down.
Yeah, and then I love it when I get to that point, because I think I've already written that.
Exactly.
So it feels like a real bonus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a bit like saving your pudding. You know, sometimes you know what the really good scenes are, and it's almost like you're saving those for a treat, and you've just got to plow. But actually, that makes what you're writing quite boring if you're just ploughing through to get to the good bit. Do the good bit first, and then see where that leaves you.
Yeah. So have your pudding whenever you want it.
Well, that's my advice, generally speaking.
Yeah.
Especially these days.
Yeah. Oh, that's a really good tip. I'm going to remember that. Okay, well, let's talk about your latest book. I'll bring it up so everyone can see it, which is Sunday Times bestseller, Unexpected Lessons in Love. Tell us a little bit about this one, Lucy.
Well, this is one of those "what would you do" books. The basic setup is that Jeannie and Dan have had a whirlwind romance, and they have got married quite quickly. And it's only when she's on the way to the church and Jeannie's dad says, you know, if you're having any doubts at all, love, you don't have to do it. Suddenly,
thanks,
Jeannie.
Dad.
Well, suddenly Jeannie thinks, oh my God, actually, I really don't know this guy at all. And she says, I don't think I can go through with it. And she leaves Dan a message to say, I'm so sorry, but I just don't think we're ready for this. But before she can speak to him, she gets another phone call, which is from his best man, to say, Jeannie, don't go to the church. There's been a really bad accident. And Dan has stepped out into the road and been hit by a bus while he was on his phone.
I've got goosebumps.
Yeah.
Oh.
So Dan has been airlifted to the intensive care unit, and the only people that know that Jeannie was about to call off the wedding are Jeannie and her dad.
Right.
And the question is, what's she going to do? Is she going to tell people she's going to call it off? Does she stay with him? Even though she doesn't really think she loves him enough to be married to him? Can she walk away?
Oh my goodness.
So the story unfolds from that moment. That's a terrible
thing to do to your characters.
I know.
I bet your editor loved that. Oh, yeah.
Well, it was a very hard book to write, because whenever I kind of put that premise to people, it was interesting how many people said, oh no, I just have to stay forever. And other people said, oh no, I'd sack that off now. And it was interesting how everybody had a very different reaction. And I needed to write it in a way that felt true to everybody, regardless of what they would do in that situation.
Wow.
But there is a happy ending, because I don't write books with a happy ending.
I tell you what, I'm going straight to Amazon or any other bookshop.
Any other reputable bookseller.
Yes. And I'm going to order it, because that sounds amazing.
Oh, thanks, Cathy.
I think that's fantastic. So this was out in paperback
in January, which seems like another world away, doesn't it?
Goodness. Yes. Yeah.
Good. So these are the earrings, incidentally, that I bought myself to celebrate, because I think the thing, it's very easy when you have a really amazing moment like that for it just to happen and then it goes. And I wanted to buy something that would remind me every single day when I was struggling with writer's block or when I was panicking about my edits, to say, actually, no, I can do this. You know, and they're such nice earrings. I was just going to keep them for best. But then I think when you're going through strange times like this, you've got to find small moments of loveliness.
Yeah.
Whether it's kind of wearing the perfume that you normally keep for best, or wearing your fancy earrings to work in, or just wearing a dress that you'd normally save for a party. I think you just got to go for it, really.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really good thing. I was speaking to Carol Matthews yesterday, and she was saying that they are like having really nice evenings where they'll open a bottle of fizz and sit down and watch the National Theatre, you know, that's being streamed and things like that, and just make special moments where you can. And you know, I completely agree. Don't save stuff for best. We're using our dinner service at the moment. That's our best dinner service. Partly because there are 7 of us in the house and we haven't got enough plates otherwise. but I keep saying, you know, my husband says, well, that's the best dinner service. I said, I know. We've been married nearly 27 years, so I think You know, if something
If
happens
not
to the
now.
plates, you know, they've served their time. Whatever happens, they've served their time. So
Well,
so
they're
yeah,
meant to be
that's
used, aren't
quite.
they?
Pardon?
They're meant to be used,
Yeah,
aren't they? That's what plates are
exactly.
for. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. In fact, I'm sure I've got in one of my books where there's an older person has got in the loft like a Royal Dalton set that's never been used from their wedding because it was the best. I'm sure I've got that somewhere. So, but yeah.
I know,
So, are you writing your next book now? Are you working on?
Yes, I am. I am deep in it. It's currently set in Longhampton's Wellness and Therapy Centre. So I've been enjoying doing some research and having a few treatments and therapies to
Yeah,
get all
strictly
the
in the name of
details right.
research.
Yes.
Yeah. I like to do that as well. A bit of research. I had in the next book. There's a scene right at the beginning where two friends go on a spa day. Absolutely essential that I research that in depth.
Completely, and probably with a friend as well, I should think, just
With
to
a
get the
friend.
dynamics right. Yeah.
Yeah, with a friend. Yeah, who's a writer actually, who
there you go.
also was there soaking up the creative juices. So yeah, there are lots of things like that. So you've got, how many books have you written now, Lucy?
Gosh, I think this will be the 9th.
Goodness me. Have you got a particular favourite?
I have actually, yes. Weirdly, it's right by my desk. This one is my favourite.
Oh, that's a lovely book. That is a lovely book.
Which it's one of those books, I'm sure you must get this as well. Sometimes you go back to a book and you read a chapter and you almost don't remember writing it because it just kind of flooded out of you. And it's a story about an unlikely friendship between a young art gallery owner and an older artist, and they do a lot of knitting in it. So I've been picking.
I remember that yarn bombing.
Doing a lot of knitting. Yes, yarn bombing, which is a wonderful thing. That's a definite hashtag to look up on Instagram. I think it's tremendously uplifting that people can be creative and colourful and always in places where you kind of need a little shot of creativity and colour. And I just sometimes when you're having a sort of strange time like now, it's nice to read about stories where communities do things together to make the world just feel a bit warmer, and a bit more.
Yeah, and that was very much the case in that book, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, that's lovely. Do you know the author Alex Brown? Of course you do, Alex Brown.
Yeah, of course, Alex. Yes.
So she's really into yarn bombing as well.
She's an incredible crafts person.
She is. Yeah.
Her Instagram is fantastic.
Yeah, she's really into her yarn bombing, and she's what else is she's very good at flowers. She's very creative.
She's very creative. Yeah.
Very creative. Yeah. Yes, because we did an event together, didn't we?
In Manchester.
We did one in Manchester.
And one in Leeds.
And then we did one in Sheffield as well, didn't we?
Sheffield, yes.
We did go to Leeds briefly. Let's not talk about that. We'll forget the Leeds moment.
Leeds was fantastic.
Yes.
Oh, yes, I remember now, yes.
Yeah. But Manchester was
much more salacious to viewers than it actually was.
Yeah. Yeah, remember that night in Leeds? So the night in Manchester was great there, wasn't it? And we had Lucy Diamond and Millie Johnson.
Yes.
There was the four of us. But then the night before that, I think it was, we were in Sheffield and Alex Brown was there as well. And that was good. And I remember you because you were staying over in the hotel and you were straight off to your room to write. Every 5 minutes, you would like head down writing. And I'm so different because if I'm out on the road, I do not write at all. I might manage one tweet, but I can't do any writing. But you were like, no, I'm going to go back to my room now. I'll see you in an hour. I'm going to get some more words done.
That's because I was so overdue on my deadline. I mean, so overdue. And I find trains are a good place to think about things because you can stare out the window and watch and just let your brain disengage. And sometimes after a long train journey, kind of a solution has come to me, and you
Mm.
kind of need to hair off and write it down. So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
not normally that diligent
yeah.
at all.
I'm quite good. I'm not quite good, but I'm very similar
You
to
are
that
very good, Cathy.
with dog walks. I can go on a dog
Yes.
walk. So right, okay, what is the problem with these two characters? Why is this happening, or why shouldn't this happen? Go off on a walk with Pearl. Try not to think about anything, and then usually by the time I've come back, something will occur to me.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I often rehearse dialogue aloud when I'm walking the dogs.
really?
Because I live in the middle of the countryside, so nobody can. I think if I was walking around a city chatting to myself, it'd be a bit more strange. But out here, nobody can hear you rehearse dialogue, so I just do it.
Yeah. Well, I don't do that, but I do if I bump into people, which I can't do now. But in the old days when you could actually bump into people and join their dog walk, I remember talking to a friend of mine about this lady who'd had a fall, and his wife was she's a trained nurse, but she worked in the community looking after people who'd had falls. And I was going on and on about this awful situation, this lady that was probably going to die, and he was horrified. And it was only when we'd been talking for 15 minutes he realized I was just talking about a scenario in my book. And he was thinking, he said he was so cold and he was so blasé about this poor woman who was going to die. And I was saying, when's your wife back? I need to talk to her. And he was saying, well, not till Friday. And I said, oh, she'll probably be dead by then. She'll be dead by then. Forget it. So yeah, I often lapse into fiction when I'm talking to people. And
I think if anybody had to look at Northa's recent Google searches, they would be quite quite worried.
I know. Yes, that is funny, actually. Yeah. All sorts of things crop up on mine. Okay. Well, it's been really lovely to talk to you, Lucy. It's been really good to chat. This is one of the best things that's come out of lockdown for me, actually, the ability to speak to get in touch with other authors and say, fancy a chat, and they all say yes. It's brilliant because everybody's got time. And
you really can't pretend. This is the problem, you can't pretend you're anywhere other than at your desk. I'm referring I had to have a conversation about things like VAT returns this morning with accountants, and there's no getting away from it. I am here.
No, that is very true. That is very true. And we're all Zooming, aren't we, doing online classes. And my friend's even doing a Zoom wine tasting with the local wine merchant. Yeah, I know. I tried to get in on it, but it's too far away. It was in Tring.
Too far away.
Send me some wine and cheese. But no, I was out of the zone. Never mind. Anyway,
I'm going to leave our houses again. I mean, it's just all getting too convenient, really, isn't it?
I know. We don't. I'm having just deliveries by the day, and I've now got a lovely local fruit and veg and egg tray person that brings all that, and so
nice.
Yes, great. I do think that's a lovely thing, actually, that some of the local businesses have really stepped up, haven't they, and really adapted very quickly to helping us out.
And I think it's good. I think it's good if people start thinking about, well, where does our food actually come from, and can we support the people who are producing it locally? We get all our eggs from a big kind of egg fridge about 2 miles from the house, and it's like an automat, and you put your money in and you take the eggs out. And I don't ever want to buy eggs any other way now.
That's great. Yeah. Well, we're getting through 60 a week at the moment.
60. Crikey.
And sometimes we run out.
But one thing I am glad about, though, is that I stockpile. Well, I didn't stockpile. I sort of habitually buy the same things for my shopping. So I've got 4 things of yeast. And now I feel like those kind of Georgian princesses who had a pineapple. It's like, oh, look at my yeast.
We've got 1.5 sachets of dried yeast from about 2011 when I bought a bread maker. I'm sure it'll be fine. But so far we haven't needed it. I'm quite glad to say we've actually managed to buy bread, which is far easier. Don't really want to start making bread. And banana bread. Bananas are my worst thing in the world. So there's no way I'm going to be making banana bread anytime soon. So
our bread maker's never off. That's the only reason I'm doing Zumba in the garage, is because it goes on every single day. So
gosh.
we're all frantically exercising to kind of, counterbalance the massive bread consumption.
And that's why I stopped making it, because it was just so delicious.
I know. And it smells so great.
Yeah.
You can make your
yeah.
whole house smell like Lidl.
Yeah. Gorgeous.
Yeah.
I did a writing retreat with Rachel Lucas. I know I said goodbye ages ago and we're
Sorry.
still chatting. Rachel
in and out.
Lucas. Yeah,
Still
Rachel
talking.
Lucas. Rachel makes bread, sourdough bread, and she makes it every
lovely.
day. And she just, honestly, you just cannot resist it. And then it's gorgeous fresh, it's gorgeous toasted. Oh, just the
butter
best.
and jam. Yeah.
It's all you need. It's a meal, because like each slice is like that big. Honestly, I go away from that. I don't move at all for a week when I'm writing on her retreats, and then I just eat this bread. I have to shoehorn myself back into the car when I leave.
Special writing trousers.
Yeah, just a dressing gown. That's it. That's all. And it's not even got a belt round it. It's just a pull over your head thing, like a tube.
We could be marketing that for everybody in a few weeks' time. Everybody's going to need moo-moos.
Yeah. Oh, listen, I'm going to go, but
Yes,
it's been really lovely to talk to you. Thanks ever so much for joining me.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Okay,
Bye.
take care. Bye-bye. Oh, it was lovely chatting to Lucy Dillon. Went on for ages. My little cheeks are aching from smiling. Don't go away, Lucy, because I'm going to come back in a second. Right, thanks everyone for watching, and I'll be back with some of your favourite authors very, very soon. Thanks for coming. Bye.